Our crown in the shadows. Imagine this. A royal crown rests on a velvet cushion, golden, glorious, untouched, but it was never worn, because the woman meant to wear it was locked away, not by enemies, not by war, but by her own father, and, later by her own son. Her name was Joanna. History would remember her as Juana la Loca, Joanna the Mad, but madness was not her crime. Her only fault was being inconvenient, and for that, she spent nearly 50 years imprisoned in a stone convent, alone, forgotten. She was born to rule, born to shape the destiny of Spain. Instead, she became a ghost behind royal walls. This is not just a story about a queen. It's about betrayal, silencing, and the terrifying power of men who feared a woman too much to let her lead. Let's go back. Chapter 1. A royal birth, a heavy name. Year 1479, place Toledo, Castile, modern-day Spain. Century, late 15th. Joanna was born in the heart of power. Her parents? Queen Isabella I of Castile and King Ferdinand II of Aragon, two of the most powerful monarchs in European history. Yes, that Isabella and Ferdinand, the same ones who sent Columbus to the New World, the rulers who united Spain under one crown. Their daughter, Joanna, was the third child, not the first in line, but royalty all the same. She grew up surrounded by velvet halls, gold-tipped scrolls, and strict Catholic teachings. She was smart, very smart. She spoke Latin, French, and Flemish. She played instruments, read philosophy. People said she was too clever, too curious, too intense. But in royal courts, intelligence wasn't always welcome in a woman, especially not one who might become queen. Still, she was beautiful, with chestnut hair, deep-set eyes, and a quiet strength. And, for a while, that was enough. Chapter 2. A match of politics, not love. Year 1496, place, Ghent, Flanders, modern-day Belgium. Joanna, age 16. At 16, Joanna was married off, like most royal daughters were. Her husband? Philip the Handsome, son of the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian Therese. The marriage wasn't about romance, it was about power. Their union would connect Spain and the Habsburg Empire. Two thrones, one unstoppable dynasty. But something unexpected happened. They fell in love, at least for a while. Philip was captivated by her beauty, and Joanna. She was obsessed with him. But love in royal courts is dangerous, and in time obsession turned to jealousy. Then jealousy turned to grief. Because Philip was not loyal. He flirted with other women, kept mistresses, ignored Joanna in public. And she? She screamed, begged, wept, fought. People began whispering. They said Joanna was unwell, unstable, mad. But what they really meant was she didn't suffer quietly. Chapter 3. Death, Betrayal, and a Throne Within Reach. Year 1504, Joanna. Age 25, location, Castile, Spain. Everything changed when Joanna's mother, Queen Isabella, died. Isabella had ruled Castile with iron strength. Her death left a vacuum, and according to the will, Joanna was now Queen of Castile. Yes, she had a claim to the throne. She should have worn the crown. But her father, King Ferdinand, didn't trust her, and neither did her husband, Philip. They both wanted control, and they both saw Joanna as a problem. So they did what powerful men often do. They worked around her. Philip declared himself king, and Ferdinand tried to annul her rule. Joanna? She was pushed aside, cut out of meetings, treated like furniture in her own court, and the rumors grew louder. She's hysterical. She's unfit. She's mad. But was she? Or was she just angry that her crown was slipping from her hands? Chapter 4. The Coffin That Never Closed. Year 1506. Philip dies suddenly. Joanna, age 27. Then, suddenly, Philip died. Some say it was typhoid fever. Others whispered it was poison. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. Joanna was devastated. They had fought. They had hurt each other, but she had loved him. And now, he was gone. Joanna did something no queen had ever done. She refused to bury him. She ordered his coffin to remain sealed, but above ground. She had it transported from town to town, so she could sleep beside it. Yes, she slept beside her husband's corpse, clutching the casket, whispering to him. She was broken, unhinged, or maybe simply grieving. The people called her mad. But imagine this. You're a 27-year-old woman. You've lost your mother. You're denied your crown. You're betrayed by your father. And now, your husband is dead. Wouldn't grief drive anyone to the edge? Chapter 5. Declared unfit. Year 1507. Place, Tordesillas, Spain. Joanna is imprisoned by her father. King Ferdinand had seen enough. In public, he claimed he wanted to help his daughter. But in truth, he wanted the crown. He had Joanna declared mentally unfit to rule, and then he locked her away. In a convent in Tordesillas. No trial, no hearing, no public outcry, just silence. The Queen of Castile, crowned by law, blood, and birth, was now a prisoner, not in chains, but in stone walls. She wasn't allowed to leave. She was forbidden to speak to outsiders. Even her children were taken from her. Years passed, then decades. She was locked away for the rest of her life. Chapter 6. Forgotten by her own blood. Year 1516. Her father dies, now her son. Charles becomes king. You might hope that once her father died, freedom would return, but it didn't. Her son, Charles V, now Emperor of Spain and the Holy Roman Empire, had power, and he kept her locked away. Why? Because if she was free, she could claim the throne, and power does not like sharing. Charles never visited her. He barely mentioned her. She became a stain, a risk, a memory he wanted erased. She stayed in that convent. Her meals were brought by handmaids. Her only companion, a single servant. She wasn't allowed to walk freely. She couldn't see her daughter, Catherine. She aged slowly in the shadows, from 27 to 30 to 40 to 60. Always the same stone walls, always the same silence. Chapter 7. Years turn to dust. Location, Tordesillas, Spain. Time frame, 1517–15555. For decades, nothing changed. Joanna lived inside the convent's dark stone walls. No throne, no visitors, no freedom, just whispers, and the sound of the river Duero, always flowing just beyond the window she couldn't reach. She was not allowed to walk freely. She wasn't permitted to read letters. She couldn't hear news from outside. Even the nuns were instructed not to speak much to her. They were told she was mad, dangerous, unstable. But what they saw was different. Some said she was quiet, lonely, polite, not violent, not wild, just deeply sad. They noticed she still clung to old rituals, still spoke as a queen, still waited for someone to come and say, "It's time to go home." But no one came. Not her father, not her son, not even history. Chapter 8. The daughter. She never got to know. Joanna had 6 children before she was imprisoned, but the one who broke her heart the most was her youngest, Catherine. Catherine was born after Philip's death. She never knew her father and barely remembered her mother. She was taken away as a baby. But as she grew older, she began to ask questions. She begged to see her mother. She wanted to know the woman behind the rumors. At long last, when Catherine was a teenager, Charles allowed her to visit, and what she found shocked her. Joanna was pale, thin, dressed in black. Her eyes held a storm that never left, but she remembered Catherine. She held her hand, she smiled. Catherine returned many times after that. She became her mother's only comfort, her only connection to the world outside. And when Catherine left, Joanna cried, not because she was mad, but because she was human. Chapter 9. The Queen and the Candle. As the years passed, Joanna's world grew smaller. She stopped walking altogether. Her legs weakened, her teeth fell out, her hair greyed. But every night she asked for the same thing, a candle. She would place it beside her and speak quietly to herself. To her husband, maybe. To her mother. To God. We don't know. All we know is that she clung to light, even when the world gave her only darkness. The candle was her rebellion, a tiny flame of dignity that no one could take from her. It was her throne now. Her. Courtier was her last ritual as queen. Chapter 10, Death in Silence. Year 1555 from Joanna's age, 75. After nearly 50 years of imprisonment, Joanna died quietly in her bed. There were no crowds, no ceremony, no royal procession, just a note in the royal records, and a grave far from the palace she was born to rule. She was buried beside her husband, Philip the Handsome, just as she had always wanted. But he died young. Free. She died old. Forgotten. Chapter 11. The Truth History Almost Erased. For centuries, Joanna was remembered only by one name, Juana la Loca, Joanna the Mad. Textbooks said she was hysterical, unfit, possessed by grief. But modern historians have started to ask, was she really mad? Or was she silenced? Joanna showed emotion. She cried, she fought, she demanded answers. And in the 1500s, a woman who questioned men, who refused to be silent, who grieved publicly, she was labeled dangerous. Her father wanted power. Her husband wanted control. Her son wanted order. And all three decided better a mad queen locked in a tower than a powerful woman on a throne. Conclusion: the queen they couldn't kill. Joanna never ruled. Not truly. She was crowned, yes, but her voice was silenced. Her hands were bound. Her mind was disrespected. But she never gave up her title. Even in her darkest days, she called herself La Reina, the Queen, because in her heart she still was. Not by sword, not by crown, but by blood, by birth, by spirit. They could lock her body, but they couldn't lock her. So,